Hello, I'm Tim Carrigan. I'm the CEO of a company called Green Switch, but we actually trade under the brand name Blike. So when it said Green Switch Trading, the last word was as Blike. So I'm here to talk to you about we're a fintech business. If you were at the panel this morning talking about e-bike subscriptions, you'll hear all of the people who offer e-bike subscriptions saying that they're basically finance companies. We set up a finance company that does e-bike subscriptions, so we've come at it at the reverse way. This morning has been a great illustration of the problem that we're addressing. There's loads of great products up here, the Convoy, everybody would love to have one of those, but they're new products, they're untested, and for consumers, all of this innovation around micromobility creates a really big problem. It's like, when should I buy these products? When are they at the right price? What's the risk of adoption? That's what we aim to address. So all of that innovation is actually creating a problem that we call purchase paralysis. And it applies to consumers and it applies to businesses as well in adopting these types of products. When should I invest? When should I buy? How should I enter the market? And so we see our primary thing as being a fintech that helps manage the risk around the adoption of these technologies. So that's the problem. How do we solve it? We solve it with an innovation that kind of blurs the distinction between with the idea of subscription and the idea of leasing or buying a product. And we heard a lot of people talking in the subscription panel about what happens to subscription customers if they go away because they buy a product. Well, we eliminate the need for that. We also eliminate the need for you to compromise on the product you want because you can get the bike you actually want rather than a single generic product. So we provide a very wide range of form factors, and we're trying to extend the range of form factors into all sorts of mobility. So we'd love to have things like Convoy, we'd love to have Flit, who we're going to present later, we'd love to do the trailer and help people adopt these types of technologies. So this is what it looks like to the consumer. It looks like an e-bike subscription business today. We also provide these quadricycle e-cargo bikes for businesses. So you can choose the form factor that you want. So we support brands like Brompton, so you can have a folding bike, you can have a groovy cowboy bike, you can have an e-cargo bike, you can have the bike that actually works for your use case. You can have all the accessories attached to that you want for your child seat and all the things that go with it. You get a wraparound around that of the tracker, the bike hunting type service that a lot of these subscription businesses provide, the security products, insurance, and scheduled maintenance. So that's what the package includes, and obviously if you're a business and you're using the subscription product, you also get sort of fleet management tools and those kinds of products. Okay, so we've been in the market for quite a while now, so it may be a bit different for some of the other businesses. We started launching the market in 2020, had quite early validation of our model, and in this period in 2023-24, if anybody's actually been operating in the market will know that raising capital has been very, very difficult. We've finally unlocked that problem thanks to EIT and other investors and are now able to access institutional debt financing to actually really rapidly grow our fleet. So you see that we're in a period of very, very rapid growth, and now that we have the institutional funding, we can continue that growth. And one of the big drivers of that growth is the addition of B2B fleet and B2B cargo products, because you have to buy them in big numbers. So every new customer is a big investment. So till up to date, we've been operating in what is a relatively small e-bike market in the UK. I don't know if people know about the UK, but we sell under 200,000 e-bikes in the UK annually, whereas in Germany they sell 2 million. So we're in a 10x smaller market than most of our European competitors. So we're doing two things at the moment. We're in the middle of raising a round, and we're trying to grow in two ways, geographically and adding all sorts of different products into the mix. Am I 1 minute? Okay. So a couple of things to point out. We have really robust unit economics. My business partner is a guy who used to run a hedge fund. We really understand our unit economics well, and we have a very sort of profitable model. We have very proven growth strategies. So we trade mainly through online, through our website, but we're now adding the white label capability where the brands that we work with can add their own subscription products. And we're also increasing the range of products with things like these quadricycles. And this is a VOC quadricycle being used to deliver milk in the UK. So we're currently raising 2 million. If anybody wants to write a check, please see me afterwards. And we have a really, really strong team. As I mentioned, my background is in tech. My business partner's background is in finance. We're supported by some really, really excellent investors and advisors. And we have a very strong team underneath us who really understand the bike industry. So that's us. Thank you very much.
Thanks. Now this is one business I understand a bit better than average. Great. Can you tell me more about the refurbishing? Like you mentioned earlier, it's like every month you can cancel, and you were also mentioning like second-hand bikes and so on. Like, do you know your cost of refurbishing and how do you handle that in general?
Yes, yeah, we do. We maintain the bikes regularly anyway, so the cost of doing that is sort of built into because the customer is essentially paying for the maintenance of the bike. So it's not an additional cost in that way. It's just the timing of when we incur that cost. Today, our main B2C customer is a commuter, so it's actually quite light bike usage. So we don't actually have, like, the bikes aren't getting hammered. They're not like delivery bikes. So the cost of actually turning them around isn't very high. It's like a traditional service cost. And it's a really, really powerful part of our business model because it basically creates cheaper inventory. So as the bike gets older, it gets cheaper, and that's where we can address. So our kind of, at the start point, we were looking at about £100 a month as a sort of, that's because that's what the average Londoner spends on getting around. And we're now at the point where we can offer bikes for £50 and £60, and good quality premium e-bikes at that kind of cost.
And that's something you do yourself, the refurbishing?
Mostly, but we're trying to build a model where we can get partners to do it, and that's how we do the international expansion. Because we see ourselves as a fintech, and we rely on a lot of partners to do a lot of the servicing elements. So we operate across the UK, and we just get local bike shops to fix the bikes. It makes the model quite sort of scalable.
And one last clarifying question on this. Like you said earlier, people can get basically whatever bike they want.
Yeah.
Does that include whatever bike they want, or just commuting bikes?
No. Well, we try and support all the sort of key form factors. So we're picking products that we think are good because we've got to have the reusability. So we have quite a lot of van moves, which, so we made some mistakes on that front. But yeah, so we're working with reputable brands, but we're trying to cover all the form factors. So we have Brompton, we have other folding options. We have cargo bikes, a range of cargo bikes from various brands, and we're sort of trying to attract new brands all the time. So we're just onboarding Cube at the moment, for example. So getting more reputable, more European brands is kind of part of the expansion structure plan, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's, of course, quite important when you talk about the refurbishing. You can't just let people get whatever. But yeah, thanks.
Yeah. I mean, we're locking into the brand, because when you work with the bigger brands, they have some kind of dealer network and whatever, so we can lock into those people who can fix the bikes.
First of all, thank you for having a number-driven presentation. Really appreciate that. I was just curious about your white label strategy. I think that's incredibly interesting as a growth strategy. But are you primarily addressing the brands OEMs directly, or would you also targeting bike shops, retail? What will be the level of white label you're looking at? Yeah,
the first thing we're doing is working with the brands to offer their own kind of subscription products. And that's quite attractive to them because then when the customer comes to them, they're only getting offered the subscription product for their bike. So one of the problems we had with people referring to us was that they're then going into a competitive space where other people's bikes were going to be offered. So that's a major point. To be honest, our business model does rely on the retail margin, so we've struggled to work out a way to work with the retailers other than to bring them the maintenance and piece, which is still kind of something that we can offer the retail chain. So we haven't yet got a strategy to engage retailers. Right.
But does that mean you're unlocking basically more like a D2C approach for the brands as well that typically rely on retail?
Yeah. Well, we started off working with people who sold direct.
Right.
And that worked really well. And now we're trying to reach into brands that do have a retail channel. and try and not be too, the tension between us sort of taking business away from their dealers is a bit of a sort of issue that we have to navigate.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks very much.